Anyway, we survived all that, and then came this one day, the 3rd of June 1942, when at 1 o'clock we were scrambled to go to Berakim. Rommel was attacking. It was the southern anchor of the Gazala line, Berakim, and it was manned by the Free French. And we were sent off to go and scramble because they said a lot of German aircraft were coming in to attack it. But we got there at the same time as they were bombing, as the Stukas were bombing. We caught them as they came out of their bombing dives. And we got into a very big scrap with a number of German fighters, and all 109s. Eventually, out of all of this, I saw a Stuka heading home, so I followed him quickly, and I took a shot at him and fortunately hit him. So he started going down, so I followed him down. All these things were full. Fully against all the advice you get given. I stopped looking around, I was just chasing him, and the next second I got a massive bang in my cockpit, and a shell from an aircraft came through underneath my leg and took my stick out, and the shrapnel cut my rudder bar wire so that I had absolutely no controls and going down. But fortunately, it's a very strange thing, but at flying school, we became guinea pigs for a Wits University professor who initiated the aptitude tests that all future pilots were tested by. We were the guinea pigs. And one of the things you had to do was to get your right hand moving in one direction, up or down, and your left hand moving in the opposite direction, or up or down, around, sometimes in different directions. And we had a lot of practice at it. So I used the trims of the Tomahawk, which ancillary equipment on the wings, to get the nose of my aircraft up so it wouldn't crash into the ground, which I just managed to do before I hit the ground, and then I crash landed. And I discovered when I crash landed that there were two other of our aircraft down there at the same time, and my Stuka pilot was just in front of me and burning. So we pulled him out of the plane, his plane, and so the four of us sat on the ground and realized we were now about 20 miles behind the German lines. And the fellow who was sitting, one of the fellows who was there with me was this friend of mine by the name of Bob Morrison, who was the man that Frost had given instruction to look after me, which he did very well. And we sat on the ground, and I said, "Now what are we going to do now?" And he said, "We've got to get out of here." And so I said, "How are we going to do that?" So he said, "Well, in any case, yeah, look what's coming over the horizon." And there was a armoured car coming along. And we thought it must be German. So I said, "What are we going to do with this?" He said, "You'll pretend we're Germans." So I said, "How are we going to do that?" He said, "Well, it's simple." He said, "We speak in broken English." So he started doing just that. And Dibble, who was very badly burnt,
the German pilot,
he was absolutely bewildered by this whole thing going on top of which he was very worried about his appearance. And we were all wounded, all four of us, And Viv had a big gash across his head. Bob had a huge hole in the back of his leg, and both my legs were spattered with this shrapnel from that stuff that went into my cockpit. So we were seriously debating this broken English stuff when along came a guy, and it was a South African by the name of Alec van Niekerk, driving an armoured car which was part of the long-range desert group, the 4th Armoured Cars there. And he picked us up and took us back through the lines, which was brilliant of him. And he, in no time at all, informed us that his car was very seriously equipped. It had a bar, and it had a liquor there. So he said, we said, well, what do we do? He said, would you like a drink? We all said, yes, we would. So he said, well, to me, what would you like? I said, I'll have a Scotch thing, not dreaming that he would have one. He said, what, soda or water? So I said, soda. So he said, fine. And it's unbelievable, but he poured me a Scotch and water. And so all the chaps had a drink, except Dibble. He didn't. And there he was. So he got us through and got into an ambulance, and again, all 4 of us were in the same ambulance. By this time, Dibble was talking to us, and he spoke very good English. And we all ended up and ended in Tobruk Hospital. It was just prior to Rommel's final attack on Tobruk, which he took. But about 2 days before he came in, they evacuated us from the hospital, fortunately. And we were sent down to Messerschmitt 2, and from there put into an aeroplane and sent down to Cairo, and my first tour had come to an end.